Hello everyone, welcome back. I want to do a video today to make you guys aware that there is such a thing out there as 9mm NATO. Okay, now this doesn't mean that this is like 9mm Luger that NATO has accepted and they just stamped NATO on it. This is technically a different type of ammunition, right? So this ammunition here, right, says 9mm Luger. Okay, that's the type of ammunition that this is. This is a type of ammunition. Okay, and like this Tula here, right? That says it says 9mm Luger. Okay, so this 9mm NATO is technically a different type of ammunition. It's kind of like 223 and 5.56 are different types of ammunition. How 308 and 7.62 by 5.1 are different types of ammunition. Now, 9mm NATO gets a little bit weird because the way it works with 5.56, okay, 5.56 is a different type of, is different from, let's say, 223. But if the military accepts it, if it meets their standards, then it's 5.56 NATO, okay. Whereas, you know, but you can have like 5.56 that's not NATO, okay. Whereas with this 9mm, right, the name of this type of ammunition, right, is 9mm NATO, but that doesn't mean that the military has accepted it, okay, and that they're going to use it and that it meets their standards, okay. Now I'm kind of carrying over some of the information that I know from 5.56. With the 5.56, in order to meet military requirements, two things that stand out. There's probably more, but basically it has to have like the water seal around the primer. Okay, I think there also has to be some type of a seal between the bullet and the case, right? And the other thing that's going to stand out is if you look at the different color there. Okay, basically the brass itself is heat treated. Let me find one that stands out a little bit more. Here you go. All right, you see how there's a difference in the color? There it goes. That's in focus. So the bottom half is a little bit darker. So that means that it's been heat treated. Okay, so basically these things have to be present for the military to accept it, to accept 5.56 as NATO. And sometimes with 5.56 it can have some of these requirements, but it may not meet all of them. In which case it doesn't meet the NATO requirements. Okay, but again it gets confusing because you got 223. You got 5.56, and then you got 5.56 that if it meets military requirements, it gets called NATO. But with this 9mm NATO, okay, this is the actual name of this type of ammunition, okay? And it doesn't mean that the military has accepted this and it meets their standards. So as far as I know, there's not some other designation where it says, okay, 5.56 NATO, approved by like NATO, okay, so so as far as I'm aware, there's so it's confusing, and I'm just making you guys aware of it, okay? I'm making you aware of that this confusion exists. When you ask people what the difference is between 9mm Luger and 9mm NATO, what you will typically be told is that the 9mm NATO is basically a plus P load, that it's loaded to higher pressures, okay? Now, I ran this through a chronograph and I did an energy calculation. Both the CCI Blazer and this 9mm NATO from Winchester, right? It says Winchester Ranger, and it had this bullshit for law enforcement use only. A bunch of BS. I just got this online. So that's just marketing. So that's the other side of this. There's a whole marketing BS side to this, okay? Because we don't know. This might just be loaded 9mm Luger and they stamped it 9mm NATO. We don't know. I mean, Now, almost all 9mm guns that are sold today are stamped are plus P rated. Okay, so even if this was a plus P load, most modern 9mm guns would be able to handle it. But running these two through the chronograph, the CCI Blazer and this Winchester 9mm NATO, they both clocked in at 343 foot-pounds of energy. The Tula, on the other hand, actually comes in hotter. This comes in at around 350 foot-pounds of energy. Seen it as high as 355, you know, because there are some fluctuations. But the Tula 9mm Luger typically runs hotter, okay? And it's not rated plus P. It's just 9mm Luger, okay? So I did do some accuracy testing. Now, this 9mm NATO is 124 grains, right? And I do believe that is one of the requirements for the military, right? So so that might be the reason why they call it NATO, because it just happens to have, you know, the bolt weight that the military wants, and it might just be a marketing thing, okay? But that's not, you know, again, the main point that I'm trying to bring out here is that 9mm Luger and 9mm NATO are two different types of ammunition that are so similar that pretty much any 9mm Luger gun can shoot either, okay? I did do some accuracy testing with this. I am finding that it is that's a little bit more accurate, and it may have to do more with the fact that it's a 124 grain bullet, because a few people, because I've had this rifle over here, this 9mm Palmetto PX9. I've had this out to 300 yards, and when I was shooting it, I was using the CCI Blazer, and some people recommended that I should go out to distance with the 124 grain bullets. Today, when I was testing it, basically this was getting about 4 inches at 100 yards. The Tula was getting about 4 inches at 100 yards, and this where's my tape measure? This was clustering a little bit tighter. Okay, I did several groups. All right, so I'm in at about three inches. So I am seeing a little bit of consistency with that. Okay. Here I've got, again, you know, 4 out of 5 shots. The 4 shots are in at 2.5 inches. Okay, one like way out there. Okay, but the 4 shots, I mean, if I, you know, I typically look at 4 out of 5 shots, because sometimes there might be a user error. I might pulled it a little bit, canted the gun a little bit, you know, stuff like that. On this one here, I was really careful not to make sure I wasn't canting the gun. I had put a bubble level on the gun. That made a big difference in terms of centering me. And I've got, you know, I got 3 inches with these, you know, with these 3 shots here. So basically, we're getting like, let's say that maybe this is a unicorn here, right? This 2.5 inches, right, that I got here. So let's say it's 3 inches. The 124 grains, or at least in this Winchester Ranger, seems to be doing better by 1 inch at 100 yards. So I am planning to take this out to a 300-yard location, and we're going to see what type of groups we can get. Unfortunately, this type of year, when I go to that location, it's always windy. Okay, so I'm always fighting the wind. So you know, but we'll try it out, and then we'll do it again in the summer and see, you know, how we do in the summertime. Okay. So again, main point of this video is I just wanted to bring attention to the fact that 9mm Luger and 9mm NATO are technically different ammunitions, and it just so happens that almost all 9mm guns today can shoot either. Alrighty, so thanks for watching. Drop some comments below, check your subscription, and I'll talk to you all soon.